we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance.
Did she just snitch on her husband? Sunny Hostin built her reputation by pointing out hypocrisy, especially calling people out for disobeying the law. But now the tables have turned. The new year started with a shock for Sunny. Her husband, Dr. Manny Hostin, is currently involved in a major federal fraud case. The accusations are so serious that he could end up being labeled a felon if found guilty.
In this election, we're normalizing a bigoted, fascist, racist. These opinions matter even more. Go ahead. It matters more.
Can I say one thing?
Really? Well, how about we add some additional fraud charges onto you? And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud, which I would say you could get about 20 years in prison. So that's a death sentence for him.
Sunny's husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, is one of nearly 200 people involved in this huge lawsuit, which is being labeled as one of the biggest RICO cases New York has ever dealt with.
The View co-host Sunny Hostin's husband, Emmanuel Hostin, has been accused of federal insurance fraud. According to a new lawsuit obtained by Page Six, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influence and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York.
The lawsuit was filed on December 17th, and it centers around New York's no-fault law, which a lot of people are accused of taking advantage of. This law was designed to help accident victims by having insurance companies cover up to $50,000 in medical bills with no stress. The law was designed to help accident victims, but it has a loophole that fraudsters, especially those targeting taxi and rideshare drivers, allegedly used. These drivers are covered up to $200,000, which has become a target for scammers. The lawsuit claims that shady practices like unnecessary surgeries, inflated bills, and illegal kickbacks were common, shaking up the entire insurance market. American Transit, the company behind the suit, is asking for over $450 million in damages, arguing that this fraud has harmed drivers and raised insurance rates. They claim he took bribes for doing surgeries that weren't necessary and also billed a taxi and rideshare insurance company, which is American Transit. Allegedly, he made a fortune by performing unnecessary operations and charging outrageous amounts for them. On top of that, he reportedly teamed up with the Empire State Ambulatory Surgery Center, pocketing illegal kickbacks for sending patients their way. The lawsuit claims he got an investment interest in the surgery center as part of the deal, which means the center paid him off to keep sending patients for expensive procedures, and these payouts were disguised as dividends. 2 patients from minor car accidents were also mentioned. Despite the low impact of the crashes, Dr. Hostin allegedly moved forward with arthroscopic surgery on both patients within 2 months, without trying less invasive treatments. That's what the insurance company is calling overdiagnosing and overtreating to rack up big bills. These are serious fraud accusations. The lawsuit came as a shock to many because Sunny is known for calling out people's wrongdoings.
I just remember after January 6th, you had someone like Mitch McConnell placing the blame on January 6th where it belonged, squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. And then you started seeing people backtrack that and losing their moral center. You had Condoleezza Rice, I believe, on this very show saying, we need to move on from January 6th. I say no. You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history.
On The View, she's been bold about demanding transparency and responsibility from others, especially Donald Trump.
Held criminally responsible because no one is above the law. He would be at the very least charged. He not only has the New York case, he has the Georgia case, he has the Department of Justice cases. There are 2 or 3 of them there. I mean, you can't commit so many crimes and think that you are above the law, even if you are the president.
She has dragged him over everything from lawsuits to his tweets, but the energy seems to have shifted when it comes to her husband's case. Who would have thought? Instead of addressing things head-on, Sunny has turned her fire on the insurance company, calling them out for what she says is a media smear campaign targeting her husband and their family. They hired high-powered attorney Mark Garagos to help fight back, and threatened to countersue for $5 million.
That Sunny Hostin and her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, are preparing for a legal battle to fight accusations that he committed federal insurance fraud. The View co-host and the orthopedic surgeon have hired lawyers Mark Garagos and Daniel Thwaites after Emmanuel was named in one of the largest federal RICO cases ever filed.
She even hinted that the price tag could go up, claiming the reputational damage caused by the lawsuit is hard to measure.
Garagos claims in his letter that, quote, a damning 83-page report filed by New York State's Department of Financial Services laid out dozens of potential financial improprieties and accounting problems at American Transit.
Her husband has also denied the allegations through his attorney, Daniel John Thwaites, who said in a statement that his client denies each and every allegation and that the lawsuit is a blanket, scattershot, meritless lawsuit by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier. Sunny called the whole situation disgusting, saying the insurance company is using despicable tactics like harassing doctors. They have also pulled out receipts, mentioning a previous investigation into American Transit and a lawsuit from Uber. She accused them of being on the verge of bankruptcy and said they were panicking to save face. She said, quote, "Where I come from, American Transit will receive a PhD from FAFO University." She made it clear that this situation also affects her two kids, Gabriel and Paloma. She is painting it as a personal attack on their entire family, describing how they're being intimidated and harassed. But lawsuits this big don't happen over nothing. These are claims that he knowingly performed surgeries on people who didn't need them or didn't have insurance. And Sunny has also confirmed it in an episode on The View.
Suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
For someone who has made a career out of calling out other people's drama, this has to be uncomfortable. She is constantly dragging Trump for his alleged fraud and lawsuits. But now, her husband is caught up in one of the biggest fraud cases out there. It's against the practice what you preach rule.
And we know how to take the trash out, Donald Trump. Trash that has been collecting since 2016. And that's you, Donald Trump. It's humiliating, it's embarrassing for our country, and I don't think this president cares. I think the problem that we see with someone like Donald Trump is that we haven't had real leadership,
Her audience isn't blind to the irony. This is the same Sunny who constantly demands accountability from everyone else. She is quick to criticize and hold people's feet to the fire. But now, with her husband's name tied to a massive fraud case, there is a lot of deflection happening. She is calling out the insurance company, the legal system, and even the media, which she is a big part of. It would be interesting to see how this plays out.